In this installment, we're going to be going over Week 7 of the NFL Draftkings slate on In this installment, we're going to be going over Week 7 NFL DFS slate going on for Draftkings, giving you the top plays in each and every position. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for our Week 7 DraftKings NFL DFS slate. But before I deep dive into that, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetShetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon. Guys, we're on the homepage of the YouTube. We are currently at 1.44 thousand subscribers. Continue to smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you're already viewing this channel and not yet a subscriber, it doesn't hurt to hit that subscribe button right now. Get connected. And if you're interested in the Sunday plays, Monday night football plays, Thursday night football plays, futures, go ahead and click that Patreon link down below. Starting off at the QB position, we're going to look up at the top here, and we have Patrick Mahomes going up against the Los Angeles Chargers in division matchup here. And this is a very high explosive game we're talking about here. This is a slate in Week 7 where there's 6 teams on bye. So there's not going to be that many options or that many games that's going to have a very high total. But this one in particular, Chiefs and Chargers, is going to be one that you want to target. Patrick Mahomes at $8,300 in salary is where you want to aim for. He hasn't really gone off so far this year. He's had his best performances in Week 2 and Week 3 against Jacksonville and Chicago. This should be a game environment here against the Chargers, who's very, very comfortable with, that he can take advantage of, okay, especially at home. I like Patrick Mahomes paying up here at $8,300. I do not have any issues with that price tag. Josh Allen against Buffalo. This is going to be supposed to be a tough test here. Josh Allen going into New England. We got Bill Belichick. Josh Allen tends to struggle against the Jets, against the Dolphins. New England, he tends to do fairly well, so I don't mind going this route. Not a lot of people are going to be looking this way as well, because it's New England. It's all that persona, and everything is built into that New England Bill Belichick mindset here. But this is technically a good matchup. The Patriots have played putrid all year this year. Josh Allen and the Bills have been inconsistent as well. So we're getting some odd performances from him. You thought he was going to go off against the Giants. Only had 14 fantasy points in that one. So you're going to be looking for him to bounce back in this game against New England, utilize those legs. And they're running less with him. All right, they're running less with him, but in obviously goal-to-goal situations, they will crank up that QB sneak, that touch push, or have him running to get in the end zone as well. So we're seeing a little bit less of running from Josh Allen, but still there's a lot of upside here against the New England Patriots. All right, some of the other quarterbacks we're going to be looking at. The opposite quarterback on the other side will be Justin Herbert going up against Patrick Mahomes. And this is a spot where he tends to dominate. If we go at his DKP in the previous games against the Kansas City Chiefs, we're looking at Justin Herbert having all-time games: 20, 27, 24, 30, and 36 fantasy points. All these performances against the Chiefs in the past 5 games that you definitely want to take advantage of, and 26.2, all right? So all of them are definitely going to be worth it if you want to pay up for for Justin Herbert at $8,000 in salary. I like him there. That connection with Keenan Allen. And they still have a ton of weapons with Mike Williams out, so do not be dismayed by that. Lamar Jackson is going up against Detroit Lions. It's basically on, are the receivers going to catch the ball? All right, that's the only thing that's been laying down Lamar Jackson so far. He's been very active rushing the football as well, so that hasn't seen a downgrade. He's been very, very efficient and has a very good completion percentage all year long, as the majority of these games are well over 70% completion percentage. He only has one game against Pittsburgh where he struggles, and he tends to struggle against Pittsburgh anyway. So Lamar Jackson is a guy we can look at. Some of the sneakier plays, we're going to go down to Geno Smith against the Arizona Cardinals. Hey, look at that. Perfect opponent, the Arizona Cardinals. You want to take advantage of that. They have declined a little bit. They surprised some teams earlier in the season. Now they're looking like the poor team, the worst team in the league that we expected. So Geno Smith this is a prime game for him to step up and finally have a game over 20 fantasy points like he did against Detroit. This game here against Arizona, these guys that he has, his trio of wide receivers, he can step up here. The only thing that's really been hurting Geno Smith is this Ken Walker continually getting rushing touchdowns each and every single game. He has multiple games with 2 touchdowns. Ken Walker has been the Achilles heel to Geno Smith, and we would like to see more throwing TDs from him. That's most likely going to happen in this game against Arizona, right? So I love him at his price, $6,000 in salary. Definitely play some Geno, all right, for week 7. Some of the cheaper options, we're going to go to Matt Stafford here at $6,500. He's in a good spot here going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Pittsburgh Steelers are giving up a ton of yards to opposing wide receivers, and you can factor in Cooper Kupp, okay? So we got Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell. All these guys should feast on this secondary. They have a very they have an old secondary and then an experienced secondary at the same time. So they have a little weird complex here, but this is a spot that all these guys can take advantage of. Love Matt Stafford here. Hopefully we can get another game where he can give us 2 passing touchdowns. He's been like a Trevor Lawrence here, with we're just getting 1 TD, and the running backs are getting the touchdowns for this offense. Kyron Williams has had a phenomenal year, just like Ken Walker's had a phenomenal year with the Seattle Seahawks, and that's been taking away touchdowns from the quarterback. But Stafford here, this is a good spot for him in week 7, all right? Now, some of the guys, we got one guy coming off injury. We got Deshaun Watson at $5,700. Indianapolis is giving up a ton of yardage to opposing wide receivers here, and this is a spot where Deshaun Watson can bounce back and definitely have a solid game in his first game back. All right, he's already had 2 of the last 3 games at over 20 fantasy points. That's what we're going to look towards for someone that's going to be below $6,000 in salary. So Watson coming back, we get a nice connection between him and Amari Cooper. Like him against these Indianapolis Colts on the road. All right, and then last but not least, we have Tyrod Taylor. All right, we're going to wait on news. We're going to confirm that Daniel Jones is not going to play. If he's not going to play, then we have no problem going to Tyrod Taylor. He is a very serviceable backup, and he showed you why against Buffalo. 24, 36, 200 yards, even chipped in 24 rushing yards as well. They almost got away in that game with a win in Buffalo. So Tyrod's going to have some confidence on the shoulders now in division matchup against Washington. This is a must-win situation for the New York Giants. They do not want to fall to 1-6. And I like Tyrod against this secondary in Washington. They've been giving up big numbers to opposing number 1 wide receivers on the opposite side each and every week. So Tyrod Taylor, he should be connecting with one of the plethora of wide receiver he has with the New York Giants. We'll talk about them very, very soon. Let's move on to the running backs. For the running backs, we're going to be looking up at the top here. Starting off with Austin Eckler at $8,600. He has not looked himself since he came back. Obviously, it was just one game, but against Dallas, there was no explosiveness. It looked like he was a little groggy. There was a lot of question marks here. Now we get a matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs, who are going to be, the bottom 4th worst matchup against opposing running backs. If we're looking at tough matchups here. They are 29th in the league against opposing running backs here. So this is going to be another tough matchup for Austin Eckler. I wouldn't expect much from him in this particular game, even though this is a game with a lot of points in this environment. I'm thinking they're going to pass a little bit more. Maybe he can get you there in the receiving game. He was 4 of 35, but the rushing, that's going to be a little bit tough sledding against that Chiefs run D, okay? Especially with Chris Jones in there, some of the other guys stepping up. Saquon Barkley, on the other hand, is in a positive matchup here with Tyrod Taylor. They're going to be leaning on Barkley a little bit more. He's one of the safer plays at the running back position, even at $8,100 in salary. He saw 30. All right, 30 touches last week against the Buffalo Bills. He's going to see another 20-plus performance against these Washington Commanders here. So he's in a nice, safe area and range for him to definitely go off. He's going to get a ton of touches, a ton of looks. So I like Saquon Barkley at 8,100. So we'll throw him in here. Josh Jacobs in a very good spot here against the Chicago Bears. They're one of the worst teams in the league against opposing running backs. And we've seen some bright spots from Josh Jacobs in the last couple weeks, all right, against the Chargers, 27.9, against Green Bay, 20 fantasy points, where we saw 20 carries and 5 receptions. And in week 6 against New England, that's a tough matchup because you know what Bill Belichick does. He tends to take away your number one option there. He wasn't efficient rushing the football, but he did see 28 touches. 28 to 27 touches in that game against New England. That's a positive aspect that you want to get from that one. So Josh Jacobs can be considered definitely at that price of $7,400. Some of the other gems we're going to be looking at in this slate is going to be, we're going to wait on news about Aaron Jones. If he is cleared to play, then we're going to go towards him against Denver. Denver's been giving up the most yardage to opposing teams. If we're looking at easiest matchup on the board is going to be Denver Broncos. All right, they're allowing 35.9 fantasy points per game to opposing running backs. That's why we like Aaron Jones. And if he is out, then we can go towards A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon finally had a positive game last week with Aaron Jones out. So that's somewhat encouraging. He's been poor all year long. He had 20 touches, 76 yards in a TD in week 5, right? So that's going to be a positive to see if he gets another opportunity here in week 7, all right? So some other running backs is going to be Ken Walker. He's been super, super consistent, vulturing all the touchdowns on this entire offense here. Look at these numbers. 8, 10, 18, 30, 13, and 17. That's what you want to see from your running back. It hasn't been much, yards per carry, but it's just touchdown after touchdown. He had 2 touchdown games already twice this year, and it's only been 6 weeks. So Ken Walker at 7,000 is at a very nice price there as well. So some of these cheaper options that we're going to be focusing on, number 1 will be Zach Evans. With Kyron Williams out, you want to have Rams running back. It doesn't matter who it is. They tend to get all the work. So whoever's the next man up, they're going to get the bulk of the work. And Zach Evans is going to be that guy. Hopefully he takes advantages of his opportunity. And this is a good matchup against Pittsburgh where he's going to be thrusted in as that number 1 running back. So Zach Evans, if you want to save salary, $4,000, he gets us 10 to 15 fantasy points. That is absolutely perfect. That's what we're going to be looking for if we're starting him. Jerome Ford for the Cleveland Browns. The Colts have been giving up a lot of yards, period. Like I said, giving up a ton of yards to the wide receivers and running backs. We got a big Q tag on Kareem Hunt. If he's out, then that's going to leave Jerome Ford as the number 1 option. He's already had some big games this year. In week 2 against Pittsburgh, 21. In week 3 against Tennessee, 19. He had a very good game against San Francisco in that run D, 17 of 84, and chipped in with a couple receptions as well. So Jerome Ford, if you want to save salary, 5,100. He's going to see double-digit carries and is going to be taking over that load against the Colts, all right? And then last but not least, if you want to punt at the running back position, Jaylen Warren has just been out-producing Najee Harris. There's no need to play Najee Harris. Just play Jaylen Warren, and more explosive. They use him more in the receiving game as well. With limited work, he's still outperforming Najee each and every week. We've had 3 out of the last 5 weeks with double-digit fantasy points, 10, 11, and 12. So Jaylen Warren is going to be our final punt play running back for week 7. Let's go on to the wide receivers. Next up, we have the wide receivers, and we got some gems here at this wide receiver spot. Obviously, we're going to pair with the quarterbacks we already talked about. So Patrick Mahomes is going to be the first guy we're going to be looking at here in that KC and LAC game here. So the guys we're going to be looking at will be Rashee Rice. He's been getting the bulk of the work here and been the most productive wide receiver that they have. He's a rookie, so that's been surprising because usually rookie wide receivers struggle in the Andy Reid offense, but Rashee Rice has been the standout from SMU. You can consider him at 4,700, so we'll throw him in there. The other guys will be Kadarius Toney. He's obviously being used in gadget scenarios and goal line scenarios. When they get in that red zone, they like to utilize Kadarius Toney on end arounds, get him in the little screens, try to open up lanes for him. Some pick screens that they use for Kadarius Toney as well. So if he's going to get you there, it's going to have to be from the end zone. He gets a lot of cheap catches. He needs to break one to really go off. He gets everything, the low A-dot, close to the line of scrimmage, and he needs to utilize his athleticism and to get those yards. All right, Kadarius Toney, that's how they use him. And then they also have Mecole Hardman. We're going to see how they thrust him back into the offense. Obviously, he's very comfortable with the Andy Reid offense in Kansas City Chiefs anyway. So looked for him to be involved right back in this offense. They needed him, especially with Justin Watson out for a long period of time. Mecole Hardman was a must to have as a pass catcher in this offense. All right. On that other side, for the LA Chargers, obviously we have Keenan Allen at 8,600. We could look towards him. He's going to get a ton of targets. The question is he going to get in the end zone? If he doesn't, it's still fine because he's still going to get you there around 20 to even 30 fantasy points. He's done it already twice this year with 48 against Minnesota, 34 against Tennessee. He had 21 against Dallas. He's just been outstanding this year, and it's only going to get better since Mike Williams is out. Keenan Allen is the clear-cut number 1 option on this team here. All right, other than Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer has stepped up. We saw 7 targets from him. 4 of 60 in that game against Dallas. Very solid performance from him. And we have 3 games in a row of over double-digit fantasy points. That's what you want to see from him. As long as he's doing that, then he's providing what he needs to in this offense here for the LA Chargers. If he gets in the end zone, that's going to be icing on the cake, and that's where you can see him get close to that 20 fantasy point range at 4,800. All right. And then Quentin Johnson, if you want to have a punt play at wide receiver in this game, you want to have access in this game, you already spent up and you want some cheap access, Quentin Johnson can be your guy. That he needs to get in the end zone. Obviously, he's going to be getting more and more work since he is the number 3 wide receiver in this offense with no Mike Williams. As the year goes along, maybe this could be the game he pops off and really everything clicks for him. So we're going to see. Quentin Johnson is very, very dynamic. He's a deep guy that can very much excel in yards after the catch scenario. So Quentin Johnson at 3,800 is an option. All right. The next game we're going to be looking at, I told you I like Geno Smith, and we're going to be looking at his wide receivers. That starts off with DK Metcalf. Metcalf has been questionable all week long. He's most likely going to play, but definitely stick to the news of what happens. If he's out, then this is going to be a Lockett and JSN offense here, and they'll probably utilize more Noah Fant as well, or Jake Bobo. But DK Metcalf, he's nursing the ribs and hip injury. So if he's in, then we're going right back to that. Well, DK Metcalf is in a plus matchup going up against that secondary in Arizona. And then the second wide receiver I want to talk about on this team, we're not going to go with Lockett. I'm going to go with JSN. I think JSN is going to be flying under the radar here. And it was a clear-cut sign what we saw when they went to more 12 personnel, utilizing more 3 wide receiver sets. And that's a benefit to JSN, and they trusted him. Obviously, they had that bye week in week 5, and then you saw them utilize more of their 3 wide receiver sets. You saw it increase in JSN's routes run. So that was a very good positive sign from JSN. This could be the week that he gets in the end zone, and probably a trend that he's going to have a nice finish to his season. So from here on out, you should see some more positive outcomes for JSN if they're going to continue to run out that 3 wide receiver sets. Okay, so like him as a punt play at 3,900. So in this lineup build, we'll throw in Metcalf. All right. The other guys we're going to be looking at, I did say Tyrod Taylor. So for the Giants, those wide receivers we're going to be looking at will be Wan'Dale Robinson. He has emerged here as a consistent target. Hey, with Tyrod Taylor as the number 1 quarterback, they have a nice little rapport. 8 receptions, 8 targets, 62 yards. And if they're going to be looking for someone that's going to go deep, Darius Slayton or Jalen Hyatt is going to be that guy. But consistently, it's been Darius Slayton. So all these options on the Giants side of the football are all under $4,000 in salary. These are the 2 guys I trust on that Giants offense between Slayton and Wan'Dale. If we're just talking about wide receivers, all right, those are the 2 guys we're going to be counting on. So I like him at 3,700. This is the deep guy, and that's going to be very key because he's going to be going up against Emmanuel Forbes, who's that rookie cornerback who's been giving up a ton of yards here. And I'm going to probably foresee a Darius Slayton touchdown this week as well. All right, some of the other wide receivers are going to be keying in on. That's going to be Matt Stafford as well in this game going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And obviously, number 1 option there will be Cooper Kupp at 9,500. He went off last week, 7 for 148 and 1 touchdown. Hey, he's back and healthy. We're going to play him each and every week. This man is a lock in each and every one of your lineups. There's not a week he doesn't go for 20 fantasy points. Why fade it? So just fit it in. All right. Play Cooper Kupp. All right. That's what you do. As long as he's healthy, we're playing Cooper Kupp. Like, love him at 9,500. Puka Nacua, if you want to be a little bit contrarian, you can go this way. 7,600. There's more of a gap difference in their prices now in salary. Obviously, because, hey, Cooper Kupp is the clear number 1. Puka Nacua has dropped down to 7,600. All right. He will see a decrease in targets. So that's what it is. He's going to need to get in the end zone to pay off that salary. All right. And Tutu Atwell, same idea. He needs to get in the end zone for him to pay salary. With Cooper Kupp back, you see less targets. All right. Earlier in the season, he was getting double-digit fantasy points. And now, since Cooper Kupp is back, he saw 1 target, 1 reception. The only way he cashes in is if he gets in the end zone. All right. So for the Rams, we're sticking with the running back, and we're sticking with the number 1 wide receiver. All right. Some of the other plays we're going to be looking at wide receiver, another lock is going to be Devontae Adams. All right. Devontae Adams has been complaining about usage, and they're going to grease that wheel, right? They're going to grease that squeaky wheel. He's been complaining. They're going to feed him. Expect Devontae Adams to have a great day, even if it's Brian Hoyer. It doesn't matter. He's a veteran quarterback. He's going to lean on the veteran wide receiver. Love Devontae Adams in week 7. That's another definite that we're going to be going towards for this week. And then last but not least, another play that I like that's in that mid-range, that's going to be Amari Cooper. He's getting Deshaun Watson back, so Amari Cooper is going to have a very solid day here with his number 1 QB coming back into the fold. He had 27 against Tennessee, 16 against Pittsburgh. So this connection between Watson and Cooper is going to get reconnected again. I like his outcome, what could be his outcome for this week in week 7 as well. All right, let's go on to the tight ends. Last but not least, we have the tight end position here, and it's National Tight End Day as well this Sunday, the 22nd. So expect a lot of these tight ends to have a day, or a lot of these tight ends to get in the end zone. Expect a high frequency of that for National Tight End Day. Obviously, Travis Kelce is going to be the first one I'm going to be looking at, and this is going to be our main pair if you play Patrick Mahomes. All right, we have back-to-back high usage games in week 6 and week 5. 20 targets in those games that we saw, 24 fantasy points in 22. We know what Travis Kelce is. Do not fade him if you have enough salary. If you want to go that route, definitely go for Travis Kelce. Some alternatives, if you do not have enough salary for Travis Kelce, we can go right now and save $2,300 and go to Mark Andrews. Love him in this game against the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions against opposing tight ends so far this year. I believe this is the best matchup to have. If we're going to look at who's 32nd, it is the Detroit Lions. They're giving up 11 receptions, 131 yards to opposing tight ends, and that means very good things for Mark Andrews here. At his price tag at $5,700, he hasn't had a touchdown since week 4, so it's been a minute. He is due. Love Mark Andrews at his price tag right now. All right, next guy we're going to be looking towards is going to be Darren Waller. Each and every week, we're going to continue to go after this. Well, this should be the week that he gets a touchdown. We've been waiting 6 weeks for him to get a touchdown. He had 2 big opportunities against Buffalo. He was penalized on both of them. I don't know why they didn't call that against the defense. That was a shame. But hey, we get an opportunity to play Darren Waller, take advantage of the fact that, hey, he is super, super due. All right. They paid a lot of money to this man to be the number 1 option on this team. Expect Darren Waller to get in the end zone in week 7. All right. If it doesn't work this week, we're going right back to the well, because it's going to happen as long as he's healthy. All right. Like Darren Waller at $5,000 in salary. Some of the other options at tight end, we have Jonnu Smith here at $3,600. He's been very, very consistent. We saw it. Hey, we're all in on Kyle Pitts, but he hasn't been the guy that's been producing week in and week out. It's been Jonnu Smith, another athletic type of build tight end, just like Kyle Pitts is. And Jonnu Smith here is going to be a guy that's going to pay off dividends, especially at this very cheap price at $3,600. 4 of 36 in a TD in week 6, 6 of 67 in against Houston, and it's 6 of 95. He's pretty much been the number 2 wide receiver. It's been Drake London, Jonnu Smith, and then Kyle Pitts. So not a lot of people are going to be going this route. He's a forgotten guy. So I like Jonnu Smith at $3,600. And if you want to go cheaper than that, we have Michael Mayer all the way down here. He's receiving more usage and more snaps in the offense now. He surpassed Austin Hooper, and you saw that in week 5. We saw 2 of 39. That was a good sign. And then against New England, a very tough matchup, we saw 5 of 75 on 6 targets. He's graduating himself as the lead tight end on this Raiders offense, so I like him. Below $3,000 in salary, he should be in that top 14 range at tight ends. If he gets in the end zone, he's going to pay off dividends. Love him there at that price. All right, so those are going to be the plays for QB, running back, wide receiver, and tight end for week 7. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with another video very soon. Peace out.